Remo's kitchen. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to swap from the audio on the camera to audio on the iPhone because it'll probably be better here, and that's why I've got this headphone arrangement going on. So I'm going to stick that in my pocket so that we have a full audio running with the video and you can actually hear what I'm saying. I apologize because I'm a little bit sick as well. But so yeah, welcome to Remo's Kitchen. Remo's Kitchen is basically just the name of the series that I'm going to create for you guys. This kitchen is not my own. It belongs to one of my housemates. And yeah, so what I'm going to do for you today though is I've been brewing beer for about, I don't know, probably about 2 months maybe. So like I'm very new at this, but what I do have is a lot of information on the internet from people like Craigtrube and I want to say the Korean kid, but it's probably not. His name is Joe and he does a really good YouTube channel. All the channels that I'm talking about now will be linked down below in the description. And also one of my family members who you can find on YouTube on Cohen Equine. He does a lot of brewing himself. He's an Australian guy and he's currently in Australia with my cousin Katrina, and he brews a lot of his own beer. And this particular beer that I'm brewing for you today is basically the two of us brewing together. He's done his batch in Australia and I'm going to do this batch here in Ireland. So what I am going to make for you today is a variation of a Weiss beer, and in celebration of that I've gotten a couple of beers to have during the process of doing this brewing. So this is a Francis Carner Weiss beer, which I've currently got in this glass here. I bought 2 of each and I've already had, this is my 3rd one. So that's because the beer that we're currently doing is a wheat beer. The one that I'm going to show you today is a wheat beer. Then I've got this over here. This whiskey is a Polish beer, but that's a lager. And the reason why I chose a lager, I chose the Weiss beer because we're doing a Weiss beer. And the reason why I chose a lager was because of the hops that we're adding to this beer, and you'll find out about those hops later. Okay, so that's just to celebrate the hops that we're putting in. And then I've got this one here called Tatra, which is also a Polish beer. And the only reason why I got it is because it's a 6%. Okay, and the beer that we're brewing tonight should easily come out about 6.5%. One of the things that I discovered about doing this homebrew for the last few months is that there's a lot more flavor, and that's why it's so exciting. Today what I'm going to be doing for you is I'm doing, like I said, the wheat beer. I've chosen the Thomas Cooper Selection wheat beer. Okay, so we're going to be doing a kit. I haven't fully upgraded to all grain yet. I'll probably only be doing that when I finally settle. Like I said, I'm here in a friend's house. What we also got was we got a malt extract kit, a liquid malt extract, which is a wheat as well, also a Cooper's, just to kind of complement. So this malt extract basically complements the wheat beer because it's from the same brand and they know exactly the flavors that they're trying to mix up. We've also got 1 kilogram of dextrose, which is brewing sugar. This particular recipe now, what we've done is, in order to generate a little bit more bitterness and a bit more character in the beer, we've gotten 2 types of hops. The first type of hops is Saaz hops, okay, and that you'll generally find in a lager. I'm going to be using 20 grams of Saaz. The other type of hop that we got is that I've got is the Hersbacher hops. This is the first time I'm actually using fresh hops. I'm quite excited to start developing proper flavors for myself, and this is only the 3rd time I've brewed something myself. So yeah, no, I'm quite excited. So I'm hoping that you guys will enjoy this as much as I do. And for any of the beginner brewers out there, I myself am a beginner brewer. Excuse me. I myself am a beginner brewer, and you have no need to worry. because you and me will go through this process together, and I'm sure we'll make brilliant beer. Okay, so what I've got is I've got my brewing bucket over here. Okay, you'll see that there's a fucking weight in that. And the reason why there's weight in it is because I've been sanitizing this bucket for the last 24 hours. Okay, what I did was I used VWP sanitizer. I used probably about 4 or 5 teaspoons of it in this whole bucket, and I filled the bucket with warm water yesterday. Put all the stuff that I was going to use inside the bucket to sanitize it, and just left it basically overnight. What I've also done is I found my brewing spoon over here, which I only dipped in today. And the other stuff that I also dipped in today were my hydrometer. Now, a hydrometer, you need to measure the gravity of your beer. Now, gravity is the sugar content that you have in the solution that you've got. If you measure the sugar content, you can average out the percentage of the beer that you're going to have. What you do is you measure the gravity or the sugar content at the beginning, and when you're ready to bottle, you measure sugar content then too, and then you calculate the percentage of the beer through the difference in the two contents. Okay, so yeah, that's my hydrometer. And then I've also got my sampling tube in here. Okay, so that's a nice glass sample tube. So we use that to measure the gravity between now and also when we are about to bottle, and maybe in between somewhere. Yeah. The other things that I've got in here are my, what do you call it now? I've forgotten now. Okay, this is your airlock. So basically what happens is, the reason why you need this is to stop any air from going into the brew, and I'll explain more of this later when we get to that point. But okay, so the airlock also being sanitized nicely, and then this over here, which for all intents and purposes is not going to be used now, but I do it anyway because I know I'm going to have to use it at some point. What this does is it's used for filling up beer bottles, but from the bottom. So you stick it onto the spigot, you open the spigot, and then when you press this button, the fluid inside the tube falls out. Yeah? And then you have a bottle filling extravaganza. Okay, so we'll enter it out for now. Right, so what we need to do is we need to rinse all of this stuff, because the VWP isn't non-rinse. So we have to rinse everything that we're going to use. Okey-dokey folks, I think we're about ready. So let me run you through a couple of the things that we're going to be using. Okay, the first step to this brewing process is we need to boil up the hops, or steep them, or whatever the word you want to use, but we need to boil up the hops, steep them, get out all the flavors, and we're going to take little breaks and bits in between to draw out different senses of the flavors that we're going to be using. Sorry, my hands are still wet. So what we're going to be using is we're going to be using this pot to boil up the water on our handy dandy stove over here, and we're going to be using about 5 liters, 3 to 5 liters of water. to steep out our hops. Then what we're going to do is we need to boil up 2 liters of water. That 2 liters of water is going to be going into here, and into that 2 liters of water we're going to be putting in the Cooper's wheat beer and the malt extracted as well. I'll have to check over the instructions just to make sure that they're going to be the same, but in my previous experience of the last few beers that we've been brewing up here, as you can see, that's what we've needed to do. So I'll run over the instructions and we can do it together, basically. You guys watch and I'll do it. I'll do all the heavy lifting. I'll also do all the heavy drinking. Okay, yeah, so the things that we have in our brew kit are our fermenter bucket. This is a 5 gallon or a 28 litre or 30 something litre brew bucket. You can see that the litres are marked out in each section over here. And the reason why you need each litre marked out is because at certain periods you need to add different amounts of water in order to reach a certain brew temperature. Right next to that you'll see our thermometer. The thermometer is used to check what temperature the water's at so that we know when to pitch the yeast. Pitching the yeast just means basically spreading the yeast over the top of the beer, maybe mixing it in if you really want to. Some people swear by not mixing it, some people swear by mixing it in. It's just all up to you really, so it's your own personal preference. You can try both, see which beer tastes the best, and then go ahead with whichever one you prefer, basically. This here is your spigot, yeah, you might have discovered that by now. And these like brew buckets or any of these kits or anything like that, you can generally buy from an online brew store, or you can buy from your local brew store. Here I don't have a local one. Our closest one is in 2 counties away, which is like a good 60 kilometers, so I wasn't about to drive that far. I'd rather pay them money and then they can bring it to me, right? And wherever you are, you can find, like even in South Africa, where I'm originally from, there's a brew store there and you can get your own home brew equipment and everything there. It's a little bit more expensive when you're from South Africa, but for me here working in Ireland, even though like self-employed and not making that much money, I can still afford stuff like this on the money that I make. Anyway, so that's your fermenter bucket. The next thing that you got is, like I said, your airlock. So what you normally do with this is once you've got your wort inside there and you've pitched the yeast, thrown it in there and stirred it up or whatever it is you want to do, you put this in the top of the bucket, and what this effectively does is it stops, oh, it's a bit too much, it's like getting psycho with the bucket. But what happens here is essentially it stops any air from backtracking into the container. Okay, so that's to stop your brew from getting infected. Now, out of all the videos that I've watched, and out of everything that I've seen, out of all the beers that I've tried so far, which is only like 4, I haven't had infection, I haven't had any problems with it, and the weirdest thing is, one of the things that we did do, we had a beer where the spigot was leaking on one of the buckets, because we've got 2 brew buckets here, or 2 fermenters, and the spigot was leaking on the one, and what we did was we emptied out all the beer, or all the wort out of the one, we reattached the spigot, poured all the wort back in, checked the gravity again, pitched the yeast, put it in, let it brew, and it still came out delicious. So really I think the main thing is just to make sure that everything that you use is sanitized, and like I said, we use this VWP sanitizer. I've seen a lot of guys using Star San, which I'd really like to use because it's a non-rinse sanitizer and you can just start after you've been sanitizing. But for now, for me, I need to rinse. But yeah, just make sure that everything that you use is sanitized. So that's your airlock. What you normally do is you put water in there just to make sure that there's no backtrack of air. And then what will happen is when the wort starts bubbling or carbonating and the yeast starts converting the sugars in your wort into alcohol, it'll release carbon dioxide, and that carbon dioxide will be then pushed through the water and it'll bubble out of this airlock, okay? But nothing will be able to get back in, so you won't have any oxygen contamination, because apparently like there's certain types of yeast and stuff that floats around in the air that we breathe, and you know, from different plants and stuff like that, and that's what you want to try and stop from getting into your brew. Okay, so that's your airlock. The next thing that we've got here is, like I said before, is your testing jar. Okay, so what you do here is, or your trial jar they call it actually, when you've got your water in there, you open up your spigot, you fill up your trial jar. Well, actually what you do is you take your hydrometer, which measures the sugar content in your beer before and after brewing. Alright, so you take that, you stick that into your trial jar, and you fill it up until this starts to float. Once this thing starts floating, you check the numbers on the side of the hydrometer to see where your sugar content is, and you use that to measure. Okay. This over here, like I said before, is your all multi-purpose stirrer. This is just to make sure that everything is, what you call it, I keep on forgetting these words. So you want to make sure that everything is mixed up properly and everything's homogenized. That's the word. Homogenized. Properly homogenized. And homogenized means mixed together really, really well. Right? And then this over here we won't be using this evening, but this is your beer filling tube. So what you effectively do is stick a bottle up on this tube. When the spigot's open, this will fill up with beer. You stick the bottle in there, and then it fills up the beer from the bottom. Okay, so now let's get started with the brewing, the actual brewing process. So what I'll need to do is I'll need to get some water in our said pot over here. I'll need to start up the stove, and we'll start boiling up the hops. So you give me a couple of minutes just to do that. Actually, that's what we should be doing. Well, that is busy doing that. I'm actually going to be, one of the tricks that I've learned through watching videos on the internet and through a few of my friends, because these malt extract kits, take that off. See, there's a little yeast packet we use to pitch. There are the instructions. This is the beer kit. This is malt extract. So what I'm going to do with these is, because malt itself, or the extract of malt, is really, really thick and syrupy. In fact, it's even thicker than syrup. It's really difficult to get out of the can. So what you really want to do is you want to try and put these in some hot water just to try and loosen up the liquid inside. And while that's busy boiling, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that with these cans in the sink over here. Now what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to steep the hops for a complete 30 minutes. I'm going to be doing the the Hemisphere hops. I'm going to be doing 10 grams for 20 minutes, and then I'm going to be doing 10 grams of the SARS, 10 grams of the Hemisphere for 20 minutes. Then another 10 grams in each. I'm just going to put it into the pot and let it steep without any heat on it for another further 10 minutes. So we get a more fresh flavor. So the one will be a bit more cooked, so we get a lot more bitterness out of it. And then the final 10 minutes will just be to get that extra kind of planty, fresh, piney kind of flavor from any of those hops. And you must forgive me if I get any of these flavors wrong. It's just because this is kind of my first time doing any proper hop stuff. Oh shit. You see, this is the kind of stuff that happens when you're not paying attention. Okay, I'm going to get out a handy dandy scale, which is around here somewhere. Excuse my crack. I'll cover that up for you. Have we got a little bit of a digital scale there? And we're going to be opening up the Hemisphere hops first. What is that? Hemisphere hops first, yeah. As you can see, these are being vacuum packed to perfection, and these are also, like I said, full leaf hops. These are 100 grams. I got them from a company called the Home Brew Company, which is oh my gosh, it's got some kind of like marzipan smell to it. smells amazing. There is like some serious character going on there. This for the first time that I'm brewing hop beer. This is amazing. I'm really excited. Apparently there's a lot of protein in these hops. What I can do is I can show you what this looks like. I wish I could let you smell it. Can you see that? So we got full leaf hops there. We'll take those, and what we need is 100 grams. So I'm going to put that on there. We need 10 grams, sorry. 10 grams of these, 10 grams of the other guys. Yeah. There we go. Oh, 11 grams. Too much. I suppose it doesn't really matter. So these are the... Which ones are these? These are the Hurstbacher hops that we're going to pop in. I just want to stick the sticker on the packet. Oh shit. Stick it in there. Okay, so there we go. We got our hops over here. I'm going to break these into the pot that's boiling over here. There we go. Oh man, the smell that comes off of this stuff is insane. I didn't expect that smell. That smell is just wonderful. And so we'll stick those in. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, buddy. Now these are going to be on heat, like I said, for 20 minutes. So that's the first bit. This is the second bit. While these are busy boiling, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through the instructions for the beer kit, and we can then check and see exactly what it is that we need to do with the beer kit, in case there's anything different from the previous beer kits. I'm going to take a whiff of these. Oh my gosh, just unbelievable smell. It's really difficult to explain, but it's almost like a brandy Christmas pudding, or like a marzipan coating, or there's some seriously good sweetness and flavor coming from that. But that's just the aroma. Of course, the bitterness that's going to come from the hops is a little bit different. Okay, so we need 10 grams of that. Just need to make sure that thing's still working. And this is the SARS hops. Yeah. Okay, so we got 10 grams of that. Well, 11 as well. So we're doing a little bit of cheating here, folks, but it should be grand. So I'm going to pop that into our pot. Move those beers out the way. Oh man, this is amazing. First time I'm actually doing this, and I'm really excited. The smell is just... Oh man, it's just gross. When my girlfriend and I move in America, she's going to be sorry. Because the house is just going to be filled with hops constantly. Okay, so now what's going to happen is that's going to steep for 20 minutes. So at 9:30, it is now 9:10 my time, here in Ireland. At 9:30 I'll be taking that off of the heat and adding another 10 grams of each and letting it stand for 10 minutes, and I'll be using that to put into the brew bucket. In the meantime, I'm going to be explaining the instructions to you for the rest of the stuff. So, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour myself another 6% beer. Just going to do that. And I'll bring you over here for a sec so that you can see what's happening with the hops. Oh man. Oh man. I just wish you could smell the hops. They smell completely delicious. It always boggles your mind how they don't put the full flavor of beer in commercial beers. Anyway. So let me just run through the instructions here quick, and then I'll show you the boiling hops. So we've got the Cooper's Brewmaster Selection, and this is the wheat beer. It's got a brewing record in there. So it says here, dissolve contents of can and other fermentable sugars with 2 liters of boiling water. So yeah, hot tap water may be used as well, but we're going to boil the water and then we're going to use that. We're going to put the boiling water in our fermenter, and we're going to put all the contents of the cans and everything in there. The cans, of course, are over here behind me in the sink, busy softening up. Then it says top up fermenter with cold water to the 20 liter mark. And we need to mix it thoroughly. What I think we'll do is we'll top it up to probably about the 15 liter mark, which is there. We'll chuck in the however many liters that is that we got in there. It looks about 4 to 5 liters. So we'll take that and we'll put that in there, and then we'll top it up with cold water to check what the temperature is when we're just about to pitch the yeast. Then we're going to be taking the reading before we pitch the yeast. So this pretty much looks the basic kind of thing that we've done before. It all looks exactly the same. So we just mustn't forget about the sugar. I've forgotten the sugar on a few occasions. Well, not a few, just one occasion. And the sugar is actually really, really important to add, because this is what gives you the alcohol content of your beer. If you're not adding malt extract or any kind of dry malt or malted barley to add sugar to the wort that you're putting into your beer, you need to add some kind of sugar. And this here is called brewing sugar, but it's actually dextrose. Okay, dextrose is just a finer version of natural cane sugar. It's an extracted sugar, it gets powdered, and then you buy it in these packets, which is 1 kilogram. So it's normally 1 kilogram per kit. And so we've got the 1.5 kilogram malt extract, liquid malt extract, plus this 1 kilogram of sugar that we're putting in. And that's the reason why this particular brew, I don't know if I told you it was called Dual Hemisphere. That's the reason why this particular brew is going to be about 6.5 to 7%. And yeah, it's going to be delicious and tasty, and it's going to get you hammered. I know I like getting hammered on occasion, not all the time, but on occasion, definitely. Okay, so yeah. So the instructions are generally kind of the same. So it's 2 liters of boiling water into the fermenter, blah 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 blah, yakety schmackety, tickle my ballsack, and we'll take everything else from there. So I'll leave that out for now. It's our yeast. And I'm going to bring you over here to come and have a look at these hops. The smell that's coming off of this is just fantastic. Even though I'm sick, I can still smell the beautiful flavors coming out of this. Maybe not the flavors, but the scents. Eh? The scents. And not sense, but scents. Eh? Sorry, I'm a bit of a stickler for details. Sometimes. So let me bring you over and you can have a look at this. So this is what it looks like. Then we've got the full leaf hops doing their thing, as you can see. Getting steeped nicely over there. Okay, so like I said to you, my previous camera ran out of battery, gone are the headphones. So now I've had to switch to the iPhone, and I'm hoping that this kind of works out. But from there, what we're going to do is we're going to move on to putting the kit beer into the fermenter. We've had it in the sink for a while. Hopefully it's warmed up enough to try and loosen it up a little bit. So we'll open those up, pop them into the fermenter, whip the hops into the fermenter. We'll obviously run that through a sieve because we don't want any of the additional stuff going into the brew bucket. And I really wish you guys could smell the air that's in here. It's unbelievable. So I'll get that going again. This, of course, that I'm drinking now is the Tatra beer. Like I said, it's the 6%. Nothing else very special about it. There seems to be a fly in my beer. bastards like floating around trying to destroy your experience. Look that bastard up. Anyway, so apparently that's our doorbell going, and I'm hoping that that person leaves. Okay, so boiling water. What we're going to do is we're going to take that, leave it over here. We're going to take out the wheat extract, and we're going to open this can. Right? I'm hoping that video camera is still going. I completely destroyed the lid. So what we're going to do is we're going to pour the water into the condenser jug. Like this. That's boiling water, as you got there, folks. That's 2 liters of boiling water. And then we're going to take the wheat beer extract kits that we got from Cooper's. We're going to pour that in. You got to make sure that the spigot is closed so that you don't lose any of your valuable beer. Now the thing with these kits is, a lot of the videos that I've watched, people have been really anal about trying to get everything they can out of those kits. So I guess the only way to really do things is to follow suit, right? When it comes to stuff like that, when you know that it's a success. So I'm just going to stick that on the boil there. Just a little bit of water. Right, and then I put that over there for now. Then we're going to stick in this other malt extract. Okay. Now this is like what you'd call an adjunct. And an adjunct is basically just a sugar additive. Okay, so there we've had that line, and it's been warming up as well. So we've got some more liquid malt pouring in it. I feel there's a bit of weight in that can, so we need to give it some time to pour in there. Look at the beautiful colours coming up over there. Looks like a rainbow. Now the one thing that I can tell you now is that when you want to clear out these cans and you're going to be using hot water, it's very smart to either use gloves or to use a cloth or something like that, because you pour hot water in these cans and the instant transfer of heat will burn the shit out of your hands if you don't have something protecting yourself. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try and ease up the flow of sugar. Put that over there. Give myself a cloth like this, a cloth. Turn it like that. That around the can. Put some of this boiling water in there. Yeah. Stir it around. And the smell that's coming off of that malt is just amazing. Like, the hops smell really good, the malt smells really good, everything is just absolutely delicious. It's like making the perfect dessert. Really. Except it's going to be icy cold and refreshing when you have it. Yeah. Okay, I think I'm doing okay. I probably want to add more hot water next time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour it over the lid. Try and get as much off the lid as well as I can. I didn't get everything, but I mean I got more than enough. Put that down and we'll chuck this in this can. Oh yeah, there's quite a bit left in that can actually. So we'll take that. Put that up to the kettle. Wash the kettle later. And we'll stir that up inside there. Oh man, guys, I really wish you could smell this. It always smells so good. I just imagine the flavour. And with the hops, God, just something that you've got to that you've got to experience, you know. There's a definite love in doing something like this, because I mean, you got the option one of either buying beer. Like I'm lucky enough to come from a place where I can buy beer cheap enough to not have to brew it. But the reason why I brew it is because I know the flavour's great, and just the satisfaction of making something like this and achieving the end goal that you get is amazing. I'm going to take that, pour that over the lid. God damn it. Okay, so that's the two bits of malt. Then we've got ourselves some brewing sugar, dextrose. That's going to go in. This is the reason why this particular beer is going to turn out to be about 6.5%, is because we're adding all this fucking sugar. So we'll stick that in there too. And then what we want to do is we want to stir that sugar up. So we're going to stir this up. Try and get some of that nicely done up. So far this process seems pretty easy, right? And like when I initially thought about brewing beer, I was really confused as to what you needed to do and what the complexities were. And the immediate thing that I did was I went onto YouTube and I did a bit of research. Same thing, Google research, trying to figure out what it was that I needed to do, right? And the first thing that I hit was all grain brewing. And that was the one thing that kind of scared me away the first time when I thought about brewing beer, was the all grain kind of apprehension, because there's so much time, there's so much effort, and there's so much stuff involved. And there's so much stuff that you need to know before you actually start brewing, especially with temperatures. You know, with this kind of stuff, it gives you a basic, straightforward recipe that you can follow. It gives you everything that you need in the kit, well, as opposed to the sugar, because you still need to add another kilogram of sugar. Otherwise, you're going to be going for one of those low alcohol or non-alcoholic beers. But like this makes your introduction to brewing a lot better. Okay, and that's the thing that I find that's most important, is to let people know that they have the ability to do these things. You know, that it's not something that's kind of unreachable for anybody. It's the same as becoming a master chef. You know, people have a certain passion for cooking. And if you have that passion, follow your passion, but it doesn't mean that the, I don't know, average like kind of houseman or housewife, house husband, housewife at home can't learn how to cook the same dishes that a master chef does and use the same techniques that a master chef does. You know, all you need is just the basics. Start off simply and work at something more complicated. Achieve the small steps first, perfect them, and then work on something bigger. You know? So anyway, so our mix over here is looking pretty good. We're going to want to start adding our hops, I think. So we'll add our herbs. So, which one do you think we should use? I'm kind of leaning towards this one, but I mean this could work as well. So we'll try this one on top of that one. How does that sound? Okay, so these are steeped for a very long time. These are actually steeped for an extra 30 minutes. So that's going to be a fairly bitter beer, I'd say. What you want to do is I'm going to put that on here. Okay, so we've got your man over there. And we're going to take this. I'm going to pour that slowly in. Oh shit. I think we're done with that. rinse that sucker off like that. Okay, so now what we need to do is, now that we've got all the hops and everything inside there, we're now cooking with something really, really great. What I want to do is I want to fill it up to about 15 litres with cold water to try and see what balance of the temperature that we have. Because we need to bring it down between, what did the instructions say? Between 18 and something. 21 and 27 is the temperature that we need to achieve. So between 21 and let's say 25 is really what we want to achieve. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go outside, I'm going to get our hose pipe, and this is what we always do, is we grab the hose pipe and pass it through the window, and I'm going to fill it up. And what we're going to do is we're going to fill this guy up to about 15 litres and check the temp. The smell that's coming off of this water is insane. Like there's a lot of malts, a lot of like kind of like a malt scent coming off of that. But I can guarantee that once this guy gets going and the fermenting actually gets on its way, and we get the proper character of the beer, it's really, really going to be great. Oh yeah, thank you, really nice. So we check now, we're at 15 litres, and we're cooking at 26 degrees, so we're going to need to even that off a little bit. We'll add in a little bit more water, a little bit more of the cold water. Because it's even hotter than 26. While that's busy happening, I'm going to have a sip of my beer. Yeah. I really, really wish you guys could smell this. It's unbelievable. There we go, now it's even out, it's really cool. Okay, so now we've got it at 20 litres. Now we just want to make sure that this is homogenized. For some reason I have a fear that this thing is leaking, but anyway. Oh man, yeah. The goodness of the beer. There's a lot of foam on top of this beer, but that normally happens anyway, so you don't have to worry. I think the added agitation of the kind of shower spray from the hose makes more of a foamy foam. A foamy foam. Okay, now we're cooking between 28 and 26 degrees, so we're going to add another 2 to 3 litres of water to try and get it down to temp. It's a little bit too hot at the moment, in my opinion, because we're still at 26, 28, and I really need that to cool down quite a bit. Otherwise it's going to be too warm for the yeast. So we'll add a little bit more. Volume really adds up really quickly. So we're at full volume now. This is going to be our fermenting volume. We don't want to go any higher than that because it'll just make a watery beer. The head won't be consistent and it'll just be shitty and watery. And you don't want that. Well, in my opinion, anyway. I did it once. I made over the 23 litres and the beer just came out really weird and the head wasn't there. That should be fine. We're sitting between 26 and 24 degrees. This looks like it could be ready for pitching, but I'm just thinking what I want to do is I just want to leave it for about 15-20 minutes or really do what? I'm really concerned that, you know, the atmospheric yeast is going to get into it and it's going to mess it up. So I'll whip on the lid, just try and reduce that happening because it's getting closer to 24 degrees, which I'm a bit more happy with regards to pitching the yeast. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure the gravity and we'll record the initial gravity, which is the initial sugar reading. So how much sugar content you have. And that should be pretty high. We're looking for 1.056, 1.058, kind of in that area. And our final gravity should be when we want to bubble. And that should be around about 1.011, 1.012, which will give us the 6.5%. Yeah. That we're looking for. Oh yeah. It's getting closer. Okay, so I think that's all homogenized now. I'm going to pop that on just to try and avoid any crazy stuff happening. Get it in. Just with my hands. Okay, so this is where the hydrometer and the trial vase comes in. So what you want to do is make sure there's nothing else in your trial vase. Don't break it either, because my housemate, like I said, he's also got one of these kits, and he busted his trial vase already, like literally within the first week. He broke it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pour some of the liquid into our trial vase, and we're going to see what kind of sugar content we got from that. So what you want to do is you want to just put the spout in there. You want to start pouring it in, right? And you want to wait until that thing floats. Round about there. Okay, so we'll close that now. And spin the hydrometer to try and get rid of any bubbles that might be on it. And then you want to check your reading, which is looking a bit low for mine. So we're looking like we've got a 1052, okay? And because this trial vase is being sterilized, we can then put that particular liquid back into our fermenter. So just remember 1.052. Check and make sure. Yeah, that looks like 1.052. So we'll need to pour that back in here. So it's a little bit off from the predictions, but it's still going to be high alcohol content beer. Pour that back in. Put that in there for cleaning later. Okay, so 1.052. So now we're ready to pitch the yeast. So as you can see, like from there, everything is pretty simple. Like it's not a difficult process. It's not difficult at all to remember. It's not difficult at all to do. A lot of that stuff you can do at home. You can do on your stove, as you've seen here. I've just proved it to you. And also, this is this in itself is a kind of a personal recipe. We might be using kits, but we've added a few hops to kind of add more distinct flavors to it. So hopefully you enjoyed that. I know I certainly did. I really enjoy brewing beer. I enjoy the process of doing the kits. I'm sure that when I move on to all grain beer, that I'm going to completely enjoy that. Oh, just before we leave, what we need to do is we need to pitch the yeast. Okay. Now some people say, I think we're okay, because we're still between 21 and 27. We're going nowhere near 28, it's more of 24. So, like a lot of people say that you just got to pitch it on top and then leave it, and some people stir it in just to get it going or whatever it is. I personally like to make sure that everything is mixed in and doing its thing. But for this particular batch, what I'll do is I'll just spread it on the top. Well, there's a lot of foam in there, so I'm not too sure. Yeah, okay. So I'll just spread it on the top, and when it comes time to bottle, I'll make another video. I'll show you what the bottling entails, and then when it comes time to taste, it's all joy for everybody. So let me just pitch the yeast here. So this is the most important part. This is the part where the beer starts doing its beery thing. Okay, chop that off. Normally you can get like real good yeast character. You can smell what the yeast is cooking, basically. But my nose is a little bit too blocked to get the sensitive flavors that are coming out of this yeast. So we'll okay, so and just to show you guys what a steeped or a pitched beer looks like. That's what we got. So you can see all the yeast on top of it there, and that'll more than likely sink through the foam and start converting all the sugars into that delicious beer alcohol that we want. And yeah, just the flavors and everything that we need. So that's where we take this, we put the lid on. So the lid is down, and then what we want to do is we want to take some water. We're going to use this water here. Well, actually, I'll just use some fresh water. Some people use vodka. Some people use distilled water. Some people use their thumbs. No, I'm kidding. It's just, it depends on what you think. Like, a lot of people are really freaked out by something like this. They really want to make sure that there's no air transfer. So we'll stick that in there. Alright. And then what we want to do is we want to push this down, okay, to make sure that there's a complete seal all the way around this guy. What you want to do is you want to push down on the lid, and as you push down, you want to see that there's no transfer back. So if the water doesn't go back into the other chamber, that means that the seal is good and that there won't be any leakage of oxygen or any other yeasts in the air going through into your brew. So there you can see it's completely sealed. So we can let that go again. And there's a good balance. Alright, and then once that yeast hits the wort and it starts brewing nicely and properly, what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to stick it up in my bedroom this evening, and it'll probably brew at around about 22 degrees, 20 to 22 degrees, which is a good temperature for this particular beer. If we could get it a little bit lower, it'd be okay. But yeah, no, I'm pretty comfortable with the smell of the beer brewing, and I'm also pretty comfortable with the nice sound of the bubbling that comes out of it. It sends me to sleep quite nicely. Anyway, so that's Remo's Kitchen for this evening. I hope you've enjoyed it. I haven't been able to get through all my beers, but I really have enjoyed spending this time with you, and I hope you guys have learned something, you know, about the hops, about the recipe that we used. I did tell you everything that you need to know, so if you want to try this recipe, try it out. If you have any comments, leave them down below. And if you want to know anything, if you have any other interests with regards to brewing or cooking or anything like that, just let me know down in the comments or send me a message. And don't forget to like this video, like the channel, and yeah, subscribe basically. Thank you very much for coming to watch, and I'll see you guys again when we're ready to bottle. Bye.